Hello and welcome to Physical Therapy, a movie podcast. We are here every week talking movies, largely inspired by the world of physical media. My name is Kurt.
My name is Sam.
We're also joined by Kimberly, our producer extraordinaire. Good morning, Kimmy.
Good morning, little boys.
I'm so happy to see you first thing in the morning, Kim.
It's really a pleasure.
How'd you sleep?
I slept really well. We have 3 cats and it was a little chilly last night, kind of for the first time this year. And they were a little pile of joy on top of me, but also I couldn't really get into the right position. So I'm drinking my coffee. Everything's good.
I think a winter cat is fun for like a week.
Yeah.
And then they become so annoying.
It's so cozy for a little bit. And then it's like, oh, get off me.
I'm almost there. I mean, the nights have been fairly chilly in Portland, especially the last couple, and my cats are already driving me absolutely bonkers.
Where are they on you?
Knife usually sleeps like on my chest or my left-hand side, and McCready cuddles as close to my right armpit as she possibly can.
Yeah.
I woke up with Ripley licking my arm.
You never know if that's going to like lead into horror of some kind.
Like grabbing.
Yeah. Like blood. Yeah. So
Ripley's got to draw blood.
she's a little Dracula.
I had my first day off in like 8 years this week, and I spent it by getting a tattoo of our other cat's face, Al Capone, on my arm.
Yeah. So not only are we obsessed with movies here, we have a cat problem as well. All 3 of us.
Yeah, truly.
I love also like the cat names we just revealed. Ripley, Al Capone, Jackknife, McCready. They're all so violent. All right. Today's episode is going to be all about the Undead. We rated our collections and Sam and I each picked 3 titles in the Undead category. Sam, I'm very excited to see what that means to you. I feel like I might have colored a little outside the lines on this one, but we'll see. I'm curious if you think I passed the test in my choices.
Undead is interesting, right? Because the term, I feel like people think zombies first, which isn't necessarily wrong, but there's a lot that can be in that category, right? Like vampires, I think technically count as undead.
Okay.
Do mummies, right? Mummies are undead in a way.
I think anything that's been dead and is no longer
dead,
dormant. Yeah.
Does Pet Sematary count?
Yeah.
Damn, I should have watched fucking Pet Sematary, dude. My 3 choices are related to one another. I've been kind of wanting to do this for a minute. So I colored very much inside of the lines.
Oh, fun.
Cool.
That's good. We have a good contrast going on, I think.
How long did it take you to like pick out your titles?
Not long. I had more than enough in my unwatched horror stack that I had set out for October.
How many do you think you have in that stack?
In the horror stack?
Yeah.
Too many for October. Yeah.
Do you separate your shame pile by genre?
No, but I did that for Halloween.
Okay.
I went through and just piled up all the horror ones.
Just so it was an easy like pick?
Yeah. Usually in this time of year, that's all I'm grabbing.
Sure.
Before we get into it, how was your week? Did you see anything?
I saw that Saturday Night movie.
Oh, how is it?
It's utterly fine.
I've heard really mixed things.
It's like not a movie. It's like a pilot episode of a 10-episode miniseries, you know? Like,
I see.
When it was over, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that's over.
Who does our beloved Rachel Sennett play?
Lorne Michaels' wife, who is also a producer on the show.
Okay, interesting. I love her so much.
She's so great. And the kid who played young Spielberg in The Fabelmans is Lorne. Yeah. And he's great as well. I mean, the cast is all pretty good. Like when I walked out of it, there was nothing like glaringly wrong with the movie. It was just like, that's fine. I also just don't think Jason Reitman's very good.
What has he done that's been good? Up in the Air?
I don't like Up in the Air. I like Juno.
You're a huge Labor Day fan, aren't you?
Oh my God.
People really like Young Adult. I never saw that.
I didn't see that either. The ship had sailed at that point.
Yeah.
I'll
just take this opportunity to tell you that while I didn't watch any movies this week, I am having what some might call the time of my life, discovering for the first time The Sopranos.
Oh, yeah.
I am nearing the end of season 2, and
you're cruising at this point.
Boy, oh boy.
When I saw you a couple weeks ago, I think you were Only a couple episodes into season 1.
Sopranos is pretty good, Grind.
I've been trying to tell you that for years, dude.
Yeah, it's just delightful. Any opportunity I can to carve my evening around a movie with Kimmy here, and then after I lovingly tuck her into bed, I retire to our TV downstairs with our other cat, Hammy, and he gets on my chest, and I put my AirPods in and take down a Sopranos. It's really nice.
Hell yeah.
It's ironic that Al Capone is not the one watching it with you.
He couldn't care less.
No.
But man, what a show. It's really like making me want to revisit the Gandolfini movies.
Yeah, I would love to knock out some.
Yeah. I was thinking the other day, I was like, oh my God, he's in The Man Who Wasn't There. I really want to watch that again.
Oh, I love that movie.
Oh,
it's so good.
Yeah, totally. God, that's a great movie.
Yeah, and I've like yet to do this, but I feel like if you pulled up his IMDb, there'd be several like that where he's not necessarily like the main character, but The Last Castle, for example.
Dude, is The Last Castle tight?
The end of The Last Castle is tight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. It's one of those movies that I've seen scenes of on like network television, but I've never seen the whole thing.
I got the 4K Kino when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
I rewatched it. I hadn't seen it since the theater. And I was like, is this the worst movie ever made? And then the last half hour happened. And I think I might have texted you like, The Last Castle is sick.
Hell yeah. He's great and gross in True Romance, which I watched.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The beginning of this year. I hadn't seen it in a long time.
That movie.
He's a bad man in that movie, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he's grody in it.
And then, I mean, the all-time movie performance of his, I think, is Killing Them Softly.
Oh, yeah. God, Killing Them Softly has been coming up in conversation like a fair amount in my life over the past little bit.
Well, I just sneezed. I'll mute that from the episode. I think that's the first time it's ever happened on a recording. That must have been
truly.
really loud.
That was intense. I am dying for a Killing Them Softly rewatch.
Killing Them Softly is about hitmen, essentially, like mafia, organized crime hitmen. And Brad Pitt, his character, basically is assigned a couple hits and brings in Gandolfini to sort of help out. And Gandolfini comes to town and is just like a real sad, alcoholic, troubled, jaded man. And there's a scene where they're having drinks, him and Brad Pitt, when Gandolfini first shows up into town. Gandolfini's drinking beers and just like slamming them. Just like, no, he's drinking martinis. I think Brad Pitt's drinking a beer and Gandolfini's has like 3 martinis on camera in like a matter of minutes. Incredible stuff.
Truly, like, it's so sad that we lost him so early because I think he would have had a crazy post Sopranos career.
Oh my God. Seriously. He already kind of did. It like was started.
Yeah. I think that it would have just been bigger and we would have seen him pop up in like cooler and cooler projects.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely happening, but obviously cut way too soon.
Way too soon.
Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah, he's great in that.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's one other person that I should highlight in Saturday Night. Cooper Hoffman's really good in it as well.
Oh, fun.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. I like him.
Who does he play?
Me too. One of the like NBC execs / producers on Saturday Night. Like he is integral part of getting Saturday Night on NBC.
Love him. He's doing Harmony Korine's new movie, right? Is it Harmony Korine with Olivia Wilde? It's like Cooper Hoffman and Olivia Wilde, and I think it's like he's her like sexual muse, or maybe vice versa.
Oh God.
You know this movie?
No, I don't at all.
Oh yeah. I Want Your Sex. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one.
Yeah, sign me up. Okay.
It's Harmony Korine, right?
Greg Araki.
Greg Araki.
Oh,
with
that's
Charlie XCX as well.
I'm way more into that.
We might not get it right the first time, folks, but we're here checking facts.
We'll eventually get there.
All right. Undead, baby.
It's a little hard for me to talk about mine not as a like stack. And I did watch them one after the other. They are all films from one series of movies.
Interesting. Okay.
There are 4 films in that series. I had seen the first one months ago and I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to see the other ones. So when we decided to do an Undead episode, I took that as a way to just fold it all in together.
Is it a box set?
It is not. It's actually from 3 different studios.
3 different like release companies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, kick it off.
I really wanted to explore the blind Dead series. These are 4 movies. They're like Spanish, Portuguese productions, written and directed by Armando de Osorio. Tombs of the Blind Dead, the first one, came out in 1972, has a 4K release from Synapse. Or it might just be a Blu-ray, actually. But I watched that at my old apartment, and I really had a good time watching it. I thought the visuals were fucking awesome, and I liked the way that the story was told and just how everything moved. There's a lot of like blood drinking scenes in these movies, and it really just looks like pure red paint.
Yeah.
But I liked that one so much that it caused me to pick up the other 3, and I was going to be treated to the third one on the big screen at the Hollywood Theater, but I overbooked myself and I had to go see Iron Maiden instead.
Classic.
So I watched, a problem we've all had. So I watched 2, 3, and 4 yesterday at my house on Blu-ray.
Holy shit, all in a row.
Yup.
Oh my God.
I have seen so many dead knights come back to life to drink the blood of the living.
Wow.
So these are movies about like a sect of the Knights Templar from the 13th century who were like torturing and killing townsfolks.
Do we know what a Templar is?
I kept trying to look this up and I have absolutely no idea. I don't know what they do. I don't know what they don't do.
The Knights Templar were a Catholic military order of knighthood that protected Christian pilgrims and the Holy Land during the Crusades. So they're like bodyguards for Catholics? Catholic crusaders?
Yeah, I guess.
All right.
So this is a group of fictionalized Knights Templar who were kicked out of the other Knights Templar because they were practicing witchcraft.
Oh, shit.
So they've been torturing and killing these...
Witch knights. This movie sounds tight. Keep going.
So back in the 13th or 14th century, the townspeople banded together and captured all these knights, tied them to the stake, burned out their eyes, and then lit them on fire. So this is like, that's why they're all blind. You know, they all come back from the dead. They're these cloaked, mossy, spider-webby, dirty skeletons that have these old swords and these like tiny arms that don't move. But they were these incredible costumes and special effects. So after seeing Tombs of the Blind Dead, loved it. I picked up Return of the Blind Dead, which is the second one, The Ghost Galleon, which is the third one, and then Night of the Seagulls, which is the fourth and final one.
Wow. I'm looking at photos. This is crazy.
Yeah, we'll put it like a production still of the Knights Templar on the Instagram just because they look so cool.
I'm getting like Ring Wraith vibes.
Yes, without a doubt.
And also a little bit of the Fog Pirates.
Yep.
And also that guy who comes out of the swimming pool in Are You Afraid of the Dark? If he was wearing a cloak.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Incredible.
The third movie, The Ghost Galleon, is very fog-like. It's about a galleon is an old Spanish ship. Used to be, they were warships at first, and then they were used for trade. But like a traditional old pirate ship that you would think of, comes out of a fog and is completely empty. It's like a ghost ship and people board it. And then guess what?
Are we talking about the fog right now? Doesn't that happen in the fog?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. But this is, dude, the miniature ship that they use in this movie looks exact. It's like, it just looks like a toy. The way they frame it and everything, it is so funny. And you can tell it's so small. All of these movies are kind of the same thing, but they're kind of different. Basically, it's like something happens that awakens the blind dead and they come and terrorize the people in the movie. The second one is very close to Night of the Living Dead in the sense of it is people in a house trying to figure out how to get out of the situation that they're in. The third one, as I was just talking about, is very close to The Fog. And the fourth one, I don't know. Night of the Seagulls is a fucking weird movie, man.
Are there seagulls in it?
Yes. So the tagline of Night of the Seagulls is, their pagan god has given his command. 7 nights, 7 victims, 7 human hearts. So every night for these 7 consecutive nights, you hear these seagulls, but seagulls don't fly at night, apparently.
Ooh, bad sign.
So everyone's like, what's up with these seagulls? What's up with these seagulls? And like a village idiot at one point who gets thrown off a cliff, he says like the seagulls are the spirits of the 7 women who are getting sacrificed. That is the only reason that movie is called Night of the Seagulls.
Okay.
I actually have a Blu-ray of Night of the Seagulls from Shout/Scream Factory. I have Tombs of the Blind Dead, the first in the series from Synapse. And then I have 2 and 3, Return of the Blind Dead and The Ghost Galleon, from a company called Gabita Barberi, a Spanish company, region free, but the entire Blu-ray, everything on the back of it, the breakdown, the special features are all in Spanish. I was slightly concerned that these weren't going to play even with a region free player. Like, the cases are slightly different than what we're used to. The discs looked a little weird, but they played great.
Nice.
The transfers were a little hard. It's a lot of DNR work on it. So you can it's got that weird glossy sheen to some scenes.
DNR is digital noise reduction for the people at home. It means basically they're like processing to remove grain usually. Unfortunately, that takes away a lot of the detail sometimes.
And I'm assuming that, if these were a new scan of a print, the prints were pretty beat up.
How's the first one look?
The first one looks awesome. Synapse did an incredible job. Good enough that I was like, I have to see the rest of these films.
Do I need to get the first one? It sounds tight.
I think you would like it. You just kind of got to know what you're getting into.
Knights getting blinded and coming back from the dead is witch knights.
So much of it is that they just look really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
The knights themselves, and they move really slow. So it's kind of like that thing with Halloween where you're like, how is this guy continuing to catch up with us?
Yeah.
And, the violence in it is, again, it's like red paint.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really cool is that every time the blind dead show up on camera, they're often riding horses, which again, it's just this magical era of that's really just people in costumes on horses. And they do this weird thing with the sound where it's like they basically have the horse hooves running, but they put a reverb and an echo on it. So it sounds very ghostly and kind of ghastly. And it really adds to the creepiness of the Knights Templar.
I'm into it.
If I had to rate them right now, I'd go 1, 2...
Seagulls?
Yeah, Seagulls might be better than 3, but I like them all for different reasons. There's a really great scene in part 2 where one of the main characters gets his hand cut off. I watched it at 10 yesterday morning because I had to fucking knock out 3 of these things.
If you're not watching a movie where someone's getting their hand cut off at 10 a.m., you're doing something wrong.
I hope you were eating cereal and so excited as well.
Eating marshmallow cereal.
Yeah, cool. Some Lucky Charms.
I had my little tea in my hand and I threw it on. They're really weird and different. One of the things that I like so much about discovering movies like this is that I love other countries' folklore or what their idea of folklore is or whatever. Criterion has released a lot of Japanese ghost stories, which I find to be so fascinating. Arrow has a really good box set of 3 vampire movies that I are super cool and just soaked in so much Japanese folklore, especially around the vampire. The same way that these movies are soaked in so much Spanish and Portuguese folklore about mummies, zombies, and vampires, because the Blind Dead are a kind of combination of the 3 of those things. They come out of tombs like a mummy would. They kind of feast like a vampire would, but they're kind of mindless and shambling like a zombie at the same time. But the thing you do need to remember is that they are blind. So there are so many scenes where I'm like, why doesn't that ghost knight eat that person right there? I'm like, oh yeah, because he can't see them.
Even in death.
Even in death, he's still blind. The scene in which the actual Knights Templar get blinded is fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's why I want to see it. I want to see that. I want to see witch knights getting blinded and burned.
And there's, as any good Blind Dead movie has, there's some good virgin sacrifices. There's some removing of hearts.
This is Kim's favorite subgenre.
Yeah.
It's got everything. I mean, my goodness.
The Synapse edition of this movie is a 3-disc. It comes with 2 Blu-rays and 1 CD of the soundtrack. And it's great. It's another Synapse that is a steelbook, but they have a slip sleeve over it, so it doesn't look or feel like a steelbook as much. And it comes with the original uncut Spanish version and the US theatrical. If you're going to watch it, I would highly recommend watching the Spanish version, which is longer. It's 101 minutes versus 83 minutes. a lot of that is like removing or, tightening up the story and removing of gore.
There is a regular 2-disc standard edition as well.
Oh, is there?
That looks like it's quite a bit cheaper.
From Synapse?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Came out like a year after that Steelbook one.
Got it.
That Steelbook appears maybe to be out of print. 4,000 piece limited edition, it says.
It's still available on their website.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But so is the other one. So if anybody needs to pick those up, again, so I looked it up. It seems like different distribution rights is an issue, which is why there's not like a box set of the 4 of them.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Hopefully somebody will get it together at some point. I'm really surprised. This does seem like a thing that would be right up Vinegar Syndrome's alley. I'm really surprised that they have not gotten the rights in some way, or maybe they're working on a box set of 2, 3, and 4, or maybe Synapses. I'm not totally sure, but I would love better prints of 2 and 3 especially, and honestly, the Scream of Night of the Seagulls could be better as well. Mine was kind of a lump sum, but Kurt, what do you got? Break it down for us.
I'll start with a 1988 movie that I revisited about a serial killer who is killed and comes back from the dead as a child's doll named Chucky in a little movie called Child's Play.
Hell yeah, dude.
I had seen this movie at least once, not very long ago either, but I revisited it on 4K from Scream Factory.
Yeah, how did that look?
Looked great.
Okay.
I think that this movie is amazing. I love Child's Play.
I can't believe I don't own this 4K.
Yeah, you should get it.
Yeah.
So Brad Dourif, who we talked about a little bit last week in The Exorcist 3, he's in many things. Eyes of Laura Mars. He's Doc on Deadwood. He's in The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Wormtongue, right?
Yes.
He is killed at the beginning of this movie by a detective in a toy store. And as he's dying, performs like a voodoo chant on a doll called a good guy doll, which is I don't know what you'd compare this to, like a Cabbage Patch doll.
Yeah, in that realm, right? It's supposed to be like your best friend.
Yeah, it's like the size of a child. And then the story quickly kind of switches to the perspective of a single mom and her son. And it's his birthday, and she is having a hard time affording one of these dolls, but he's dying to get one. So she buys it kind of off the street in an alley from someone selling it illegally. And of course, this is the particular doll that has been possessed by Charles Lee Ray, the serial killer. And this doll comes to life and starts killing people, and essentially is trying to perform a similar chant spell on the kid so it can inhabit the kid's human body and not be a doll for the rest of its life. I went online after this, was curious because there are many sequels to this movie.
With our beloved Jennifer Tilly, actually, and plenty of them.
And I went on Reddit and was just curious, what the fans think of them, the sequels, and how people rate this franchise. And based on what I saw on the internet, Sam, the most beloved installment is number 2.
I like 2 and 3.
Oh, you've seen them?
Yeah. Okay. 2's good.
I just got 2 and Bride of Chucky.
Okay.
And I haven't watched them yet. But I hear 2 is just takes it to the next level in terms of him probably killing people.
2 has one of the greatest. It's just a great poster. It's
Yeah. He's got garden shears.
Yeah, it's Chucky behind a Jack in the Box whose hands are on his mouth doing the oh no face. And he's got garden shears about to cut his spring.
Hell yeah.
Dude, to the point where in the tiny local video store I grew up going to, All Star Video, they had a poster of Child's Play 2 behind the counter because it must have been coming out on VHS. And I was so terrified of it, terrified of it. And that thing where I would stare at it because I couldn't look away.
Yeah.
And my mom called the store and asked if they could take it down because I was
oh,
and they did.
God.
Yeah. But dude, I was that started this terrible fear of Chucky.
Wow.
Truly, there were nights where I used to have to in my head, I would make deals with him.
Oh my God.
To not
Sam.
get killed by him. It was insane.
Did you sell your soul to Chucky?
No, I had to like acknowledge that he was real and that he existed. And by doing that, he would leave me alone.
Oh my God. When did you finally confront your fear?
I'm not sure when I finally sat down and watched the first one, but it was definitely when I was older, because I think had I known that it was a Chicago movie too, I would have lost my mind, just like straight up. It would have been too much to handle.
That's so wild.
Poor baby Sam.
Yeah, it was brutal.
One thing that's great about Child's Play, especially in 4K, is the design of the sort of puppeteering or animatronic nature of the Chucky doll. You know, I feel like I didn't see the new one, but maybe it isn't CG, but it's just so cool that it's just an actual toy, you know, and it's like, it's very rudimentary, but it makes it so scary. It has that kind of ventriloquist dummy vibe to it. But they're really smart about shots where like they need to have it be a wide shot, you know, so Chucky will be like running through a hallway, but he'll be like behind someone out of focus, and it's like clearly just like a child.
Yeah.
But it like establishes that he like can be fast, you know, can like run, and he's like very nimble, and he'll just like cut your Achilles heel out of nowhere.
There are parts of the second one that if that is a big reason of why you like Child's Play, then you're really going to love Child's Play too.
Okay.
There's just a lot of like toy stuff in it.
Yeah, cool.
Dude, also when at the very end, when he comes back like out of the fire and his face is all burnt off and shit.
Burnt Chucky.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I was going to actually ask you, is there like a good like burnt Chucky like Funko Pop or like...
I think NECA or maybe Mezco put out like a doll that's like a burnt Chucky.
Hell yeah.
Doll. That's awesome.
I've seen ones that are like to scale. Yeah. And it's like, I don't need that. Kim, can I get a to scale Child's Play doll?
Absolutely not.
Can sleep right between us.
No, we already have one.
Yeah, Capone literally looks exactly like Chucky.
I'm happy to hear that 4K looks so good.
Highly recommend it. Okay, for my next one, I went to Italy in 1980 for our man Lucio Fulci's City of the Living Dead.
I definitely have this movie, and I love this movie. I get all of his zombie movies mixed up. Which one is this?
This is a movie about a priest.
Oh, yeah.
Who hangs himself, and by doing so, opens the gates of hell, and the dead begin to walk the earth. And if this isn't stopped by All Saints Day, they basically will be here forever. This movie is so gross. so gross. There's a scene in this movie where this sort of ghostly dead priest is staring at a woman in a car, and her eyes start bleeding. Like just like pouring blood down her cheeks. And the way that they are doing this is like, you can especially see this in the 4K. I watched the 4K from Arrow, UK Arrow, I think, put out the 4K.
Yeah.
Her hair is like coming down the sides of her face, like just to the point where it's like almost covering her eyes. And then you can see these tiny little tubes stuck to her face, like right next to her eyes. And the openings of the tube go right up to her eyes. And they're just pouring fake blood into her eyes, and it's like coming down her face, and she's staring at this priest who's staring back at her, and her eyes are bleeding, and then it like cuts to the priest, and then it cuts back to her, and basically like all of her internal organs just start coming out of her mouth. She's like very stillly throwing up her organs, and they're just like dropping from her mouth. And you know, this movie's just full of shit like that. Kim was working on some stuff while I watched this movie, and she came in near the end and was like, "Oh, I'll just like sit in here, and if I don't like it, I'll leave." And she was out of here in like 20 seconds.
I lasted 5 minutes. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, I mean, the Fabio Frizzi score in that one, the look of everything, it's fucking awesome.
It's really cool. There's a great sequence where a woman is buried alive and like basically they think she's dead, and she comes back, and this guy's trying to get her out of her coffin, and he's like hitting it with a pickaxe.
Yeah.
And she's inside, and the pickaxe is like almost hitting her in the face, and she's like having to dodge it.
Oh, yeah. It's so
very
crazy.
nightmarish.
This is not the one. No, that's the Beyond, where like their eyes gloss over white.
Yeah, that's the Beyond, I think.
Okay.
That's coming out 4K.
I know. Grindhouse is putting it out, I'm pretty sure.
That's cool. That's such a good movie.
I can't wait. So I don't have the Arrow version of City of the Living Dead. I have the Cauldron Films version that came out, 3 months before the Arrow one did.
Okay.
But I think it's the same transfer.
The Arrow one is great. It's like one of their limited edition boxes in the style of like the Warriors, where it has a slip sleeve over a bigger box.
I feel like that's how they're doing their bigger boxes now, but maybe I'm wrong. Have you gotten a big box since then?
That is how like American Gigolo was, right?
Yeah.
Like an old school one.
Yeah, I don't think since the Warriors, I don't think I've gotten a big box from them that doesn't have an outer slip sleeve.
Damn. I'm sad if that's the case. I feel like the old ones were perfect. Yeah, just like the classic, like the one that comes to mind because it's the last one I think I got was Carlito's Way. But, there are better examples.
Does Carlito's Way count as an Undead movie?
It might.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Structurally.
I mean, I was just going to say the first scene of that movie is Al Pacino's shot, right?
Damn. It's too late to...
Yeah. Take a pause. We're all going to go watch it.
Yeah, do you have 3 hours while I go watch Carlito's Way? All right, my last one. This is hot off the press, Sam. Hot off the press.
Oh, snap. I think I know.
This movie came out on 4K Blu-ray just this week.
Oh, snap. I don't know.
The week of recording. We're doing this one a little early. This is a 1984 film directed by a young whippersnapper named Wes Craven.
Wow.
Called A Nightmare on Elm Street.
You got yours?
I got mine.
Mine's still in the fucking shipping ether.
In transit?
Yeah.
Hopping across the pond? You got yours from the UK, though.
Yeah, I got the UK one. Did you end up getting the steelbook or the regular?
Just a basic, slip-sleeved regular version.
Hell yeah.
A Nightmare on Elm Street is about a child killer who returns from the grave to continue his reign of terror, but he does so through children's dreams and appears in their nightmares and can kill them for real there. This is, of course, Freddy Krueger, the dirty green and red sweater,
fedora wearing,
razor blade gloved, classic
Boogeyman.
Yeah. I think truly one of the most upsetting and intense kills in horror movie history is in the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
The first kill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty shocking.
It is so intense.
It's so good.
This movie is so great. It's kind of bizarre, some of it. Like,
oh, yeah.
We've watched it twice together, Kim and I, and like we just lose our minds at the mom. Like, she's so insane.
Her performance is outrageous. When you first meet her, she's like completely like leveled a little bit. Like, she's not anything strange. And then she just immediately goes to a place. It's very like soap opera in a way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like very over the top, but kind of perfect.
She's, of course, like a legend from Nashville, and she's also in The Driver.
Ooh, okay.
But she's out of her mind in this movie.
Out of her mind. I just lose it with her performance. It's so funny to me.
But this movie features like just some unforgettable imagery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the bathtub scene is just next level. Directors go their whole careers and never have a shot like that, an image like that.
I mean, there's that. The I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. I love that part.
Oh,
with the phone.
Yeah. Amazing.
The Wes Craven phone.
He loves a phone.
He's so good with a phone.
I think the other thing with Nightmare on Elm Street in general is just how good the first one is about employing dream logic and just like making you feel like you're in a dream.
Yeah.
Especially in that first sequence when she can't run and Freddy's arms are getting bigger and smaller and his perspective is changing and everything. Like, they do a really cool job with that. That I think as the movies go on in that franchise, the later ones lose sight of a lot. But this one really, the dream stuff feels like you're in a dream.
And also, as an audience member, you're not often certain whether you're in a dream sequence or not, which is very dreamlike. The way they transition in and out of them is often not really remarked upon, intentionally so, until they reveal it. It's very cool.
Such a good premise, like surreal. And that first kill with that first like razor blade effect on her stomach, like coming from her inside. It's really cool.
I think my favorite part as far as like scariness is when she falls asleep in English class and her friend is like next to her in a body bag.
Yeah. Oh God, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
Ooh, yeah, it's great. It's great. I've never seen the sequels. The one of them is supposed to be pretty good, right?
3.
The Dream Warriors.
Yeah, we talked about this with Sammy.
Is that our man, Chuck?
Oh, shit, it is Chuck, yeah. Our man, Chuck Russell. Best friend of the pod, Chuck Russell.
Best friend. We love you, Chuck.
Chuck, stop leaving us 5-star reviews, man. We get it.
We'll get you on here as soon as we can, man.
Yeah.
This movie changed. It's, I mean, I think, again, we talked about this with Sammy, but it's one of the 3 big slashers, right? It's Halloween, this, and Friday the 13th. Those are your big, massive slasher franchises. And this started that franchise, but also this put New Line on the map.
Mm-hmm.
They used to talk about that studio as the house that Freddy built. Like, this franchise made them a huge name.
Yeah, for sure.
This was a huge, huge hit, and probably made on like a very modest budget. It's interesting in your choice though, Kurt, because you like 2 of your 3 villains are really kind of like meta and funny, and they're still like terrorizing and scary, but like, Freddy, he like cuts off his fingers at one point and they grow back, and Chucky's calling everybody like a bitch and like cussing. And Freddy, as the franchise goes on, he gets more and more ridiculous. But even the "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy," and then like the tongue comes out of the phone. It's like, it's very silly in a way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Chucky and Freddy Krueger are cut from the same cloth.
Yes, without a doubt. Whereas the Knights Templar, there's like absolutely no intentional comedy in
not a lot of laughs.
Movies. Yeah.
Just a little boat.
Oh yeah, the little boat's fucking hilarious. But other than that, every time it cut to it, I was like, "Are you kidding me? Who okayed this?"
So yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I would hope that most of you out there have seen it if you're a horror movie fan.
Well, how's that new 4K look?
It looks good. It's not like stunning, I would say, but it's probably faithful to what is there to work with.
Sure.
I did not own this on Blu-ray, so it was totally exciting, to get the best version out there of it.
Well, this is another wish come true.
That's true.
I wished for this way early in season 1.
Yeah.
And we talked about how weird it was that there was not a 4K available.
Any other honorable mentions or anything, Sam, you want to mention from the Undead world?
Neither of us chose a lot of zombie movies, which I think is funny because we brought it up at the beginning of the show. I think that's where people's heads go immediately. So shout out, probably my favorite movie ever made is Night of the Living Dead.
That was on my short list.
Yeah.
It didn't make the cut, but it is in my pile. The Criterion's release.
What a fucking awesome movie. That is one that I actually haven't upgraded, and maybe I will at some point, but it's shot in black and white 16 millimeter. I don't necessarily need to upgrade it. I would also like to shout out the 90s remake of Night of the Living Dead by Tom Savini.
Oh, wow.
George Romero rewrote the script. And so it's written by Romero, directed by Tom Savini, stars Tony Todd, the Candyman.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I was aware this movie existed.
Oh, it's awesome. It is the version of Night of the Living Dead I saw first.
Okay.
It's really good. Maybe a little bit cheesier than the 60s one, but I really enjoy it. I mean, I just said Candyman. I think that would fall into Undead.
Yeah, for sure.
Another great Chicago horror movie. What else do we got? We got vampires. Francis Ford Coppola just put out Megalopolis, but if you want to actually have a good time, you should watch Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I think
amazing
is the one performance from Keanu that I'm like, you're slightly miscast in this.
I agree.
Yeah.
All due respect.
Yeah. I mean, I love Keanu and I really like that movie, but he is miscast in that movie.
Incredible 4K of that movie. They use, I believe, entirely in-camera visual effects, like old school techniques. And it is a treat to see that stuff in, the highest quality.
There are effects in that movie that I have absolutely no idea how they did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally mind-blowing.
God, that movie's so wild. Gary Oldman, can we just talk for a minute about how crazy that movie is?
His armor, that like red armor that he wears at the very beginning is so cool. So cool.
Production design, costume design, score.
Yeah. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but Arrow put out this trilogy of vampire movies called the Bloodthirsty Trilogy. 3 different directors in the 70s put out these like folklore vampire movies that I love. I really enjoyed watching all 3 of them.
I have that too.
One is called Lake of Dracula, and it's awesome.
Hell yeah.
If you can go through the Romero stuff, so there's Night of the Living Dead, there's Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and I'll go so far as to go Land of the Dead. I think Land of the Dead is pretty fun. There's a really weird Dennis Hopper performance in it. It's like one of his last movies.
Oh, wow. Really? It's that recent?
It's 2000. When did he die? It's 2006, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't realize it was that new.
But any of those are good for zombie stuff, especially Day of the Dead. I don't think Day of the Dead gets enough love, and there's not a 4K available of it, but I would highly recommend Day of the Dead. It's way gross. I just saw Fright Night 1 and 2. Those are great vampire movies. Chris Sarandon, who's also in Child's Play, plays the lead vampire in Fright Night.
That's right. Did you know he's the voice of Jack Skellington in A Nightmare Before Christmas?
I did not know that. But the singing voice is Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love him, man. Fright Night 1 and 2 are awesome.
Where's the Fright Night 4K?
Did I wish for that like a couple episodes ago?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, it won't be my wish this time, but...
I mean, the thing about Undead, it's most horror movies. Really, it's so many subgenres.
I want to shout out a few that I think of in this category, or just that remind me of Halloween. A lot of the Vincent Price films like The Raven and Mask of the Red Death and House of Usher, Pit and the Pendulum. Like, I just grew up with those, and we would always throw them on in this season, if you will. And a really good time, and crazy like 60s Vincent Price films. Also, The House on Haunted Hill is great as well. The original, so fun.
You think the House on Haunted Hill remake is better than the Haunting remake?
Only one way to find out.
There's a scene in the very beginning of that movie where a guy gets stabbed in the neck with a pencil.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that in theaters and my jaw like falling off of my face.
I can't believe your mom had to call the video store.
Take it down.
I was terrified,
Baby
dude.
Sam.
Terrified.
Were we talking about, on this podcast, were we talking about Watcher in the Woods, or was that in real life?
Oh, we were talking about that in real life with Bobby.
Yeah, we had dinner with Bobby recently. It came up.
God, I love that movie.
So that was the one for me, Sam, at the video store, was the Watcher in the Woods.
Okay.
The VHS cover. It scared the shit out of me.
With Betty Davis's face.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've seen that.
I haven't seen the movie. I'm too afraid.
It's great. It's a Disney, like, it's like one of those live action Disney movies that like completely is crazy. It's so good.
Yeah. Did they have to recut it because it was like too terrifying
scary.
and they like had to go back and shoot stuff?
Yeah, it's a unique one. I love it.
I wouldn't go down that aisle because she was watching me.
Dude, I truly have memories of walking through the store like with like my hands on like my jean jacket and just staring at it the whole time, like walking down an aisle and not looking at anything on the aisle because I couldn't look away from this poster, which I found to be terrifying.
Wait, did you wear did you wear a little jean jacket as a kid?
Oh my god!
Yeah, I mean, when I was
it
like,
sleeveless?
No,
you had like no shirt on underneath. You were like, "Fuck this movie, man."
I feel like I need to get an original Child's Play 2 poster and hang it in my room now.
I really want to, dude. I'm like, how many more walls do I need to build so I can get a Child's Play poster, a Nightmare The Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the greatest posters. The OG one. It's like, who is that character on
with
the
her
cover?
In the bed?
Yeah, like who is that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's Nancy, but who knows?
Is it?
It doesn't look at all like her.
Look like her. It's so good though.
Oh, and two 40s movies that are just so good and chilling are The Uninvited and Dead of Night. And they're both so spooky.
Dead of Night is so scary.
Oh my God.
I've not seen Dead of Night. I've seen The Uninvited and I liked it. Dead of Night sounds awesome.
Uninvited is definitely a ghost.
But ghost count is the undead.
For sure.
Is The Haunting an undead movie?
We gotta get out of here.
We gotta go. This is too much.
Okay, before we go, it's time to put wishes out into the physical media universe for titles on formats that they do not yet exist on. Sam, are you ready?
Yep. I wish for a Arrow Video big box of George Romero's Day of the Dead.
I wish for a 4K of Abel Ferrara's Miss 45.
Yeah, so mine's a little bit of a cheat. I mentioned it about 12 seconds ago on the show, but as I was mentioning it on the show, I was like, wow, yeah, how has there not been a 4K of Day of the Dead? maybe it doesn't have as much to say about American culture as Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead did, but I think it's like a very tight movie that has a lot to say about the military and what people find safe and not safe. You know, I'm rocking the Scream Factory Blu-ray and it looks good, but I would love a big extras ridden 4K.
Hell yeah.
Have you seen this one?
No, I haven't seen that one. What is it about, Sam?
So Day of the Dead is the third movie in Romero's zombie oeuvre, and it's like humanity is basically totally wiped out, and there's a small group of people that we're following who are living underground in like a mine system. And it's some military people, some scientists, and a couple scavengers. And it's pretty much their day-to-day / like a breakdown of what is happening.
Cool.
They're trying to figure out if zombies are smart enough that they can learn. But, you know, by doing so, if you're trying to teach somebody, you need to reward them. And we know what zombies like to eat.
Got it.
Yikes.
People, Kim. The answer is people.
Their brains, more specifically, right? It's usually brains.
It's usually brains.
Maybe that makes them smarter.
Maybe.
I chose Miss 45 from 1981. This is Abel Ferrara's rape revenge movie about a young mute seamstress living in New York City who, after being assaulted, goes on a murderous rampage where she's killing men and cutting up their limbs and keeping their bodies in her freezer while slowly disposing of them piece by piece in trash cans around New York City. This movie features just like maybe the greatest ending ever.
Yeah.
At a Halloween party, in fact.
It's awesome. It's
so
good.
fun.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. I have a very out of print Blu-ray of it that I treasure, but, you know, I'd give all that up for a 4K.
That's an Alamo Blu-ray, right?
Yes, it is.
There's another movie, we were talking about Road Games on the last episode, and there's another Australian exploitation movie called Wake and Fright that I've never seen that I really want to.
Cool.
And the only Blu-ray from Alamo of that, but it's, you know, as well way out of print and
a
little expensive.
Is Alamo still around as a distribution?
It was part of the theater and isn't the theater like, we don't have them up here, so I'm not totally sure. Like,
it's still a thing. Sony just bought it.
Oh, well, I don't think their distribution arm is still around.
Okay. Well, I wonder if Sony owning it would open them up to anything that they would have had the rights to like that. I have no idea, but
that'd be cool.
Okay, that's it for our episode. Thank you very much to Patrick Laban for our incredible music. Thank you to Kimmy for producing.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Kurt.
We will be back next week on November 1st, election month, and we're going to kick it off with some of our collection's political films.
I'm choosing Air Force One 3 times.
Dude, hell yeah. If you think we're not talking about Air Force One, you're out of your
fucking mind.
God, Air Force One's good. Everybody vote, and we'll see you then.
See you next week. Send it.
Upload it.